Check, mic check.
Check.
All right, audio's good. About to fire up the countdown.
All right, do it.
Yo, what's going on, sports family, man? And we back at it again with another episode of Micah and Friends. And it's the usual suspect checking in. I got my homie Nate checking in from the West Coast, aka the Best Coast. What's going on?
You already know, man. It's 4:20, so the West Coast booming right now. I'm not just yet, but we almost there. We smoking on that Derek Chauvin pack today, so happy that my man's got convicted all 3 accounts, step in the right direction. So I'm feeling good.
For sure, man. Let's go ahead and get it rolling, man. But before we do, make sure you all go over there and check out AQUANO HYDRATE on IG, man. Put your orders in. I'm sorry, I just ran in and out the crib real quick. But put your orders in, man, for AQUANO HYDRATE, man. Order your water right now and say that Mike and Friends sent you, and you never know. You may get a little something off, man. But
you just might.
You know what I'm saying? But let's go ahead and get it kicked off, bro. Going up first, man, I got to get your reaction on the biggest thing that's in the news right now outside of Derek Chauvin, which is KD's top 5 list, man. So I need to get your thoughts on that. What do you think of his top 5 list? He didn't mention Russ at first, but then he ended up mentioning him. What's your thoughts on it, bro?
Man, I watched the whole interview because when I first saw the clip, I was like, nah, this is egregious. Like, he's not that disrespectful. So, I mean, he did end up adding Russ to his top 5 after being prompted by Gilly, I believe. But, yeah, man, I was really disappointed at him. I thought it was a little messy, just a little sloppy, because even if you watch the interview, he took a lot of time to figure out who his final 5th was, because I could agree with the rest of the list. He had Steph number 1. He had Kyrie number 1, Jay Harden number 2, I believe. Then he had Steph 3. Then he had Clay 4, which I understand because, those are your teammates right now. So you want to give Kyrie and Jay Harden some love. Give Steph some love, no doubt. I mean, he got you a few rings. Clay obviously got to be in that top 5 too. But, I mean, how could you skip Russell Westbrook for Serge Ibaka? It's not like he was leaving somebody off the list that was like, a questionable, like, Serge Ibaka is not even an all-star type caliber player. I could understand if he played with another all-star type guy and was just like, okay, maybe it was a tough call, but come on, bro. Like, it was just, to me, a blatant admission. And even like when he went and said like, oh yeah, like, how did I forget about Russell? Like, nigga, you know how you forgot about Russell. You completely disregarded Russell in this conversation. Like, let's be real. But, I'm glad at least he came to his senses and didn't stand on the point that Serge Ibaka was number 5, because that just would have been, as an objective hooper, you feel me, KD, you one of the best. Like, you got to evaluate talent better than that. You know damn well Russell is one of the best players you've ever played with. So stop the cap, man. That's really that's how I felt. Like, stop capping, bro.
Yeah. I think, I want to say, like, how do you forget Russ? Like how everybody's saying. But I think he genuinely forgot about Russ just because he's just so far removed from the situation. and you know, like what went on there and things like that. I just feel like he's just so far removed from it.
But Serge was on that same team, so it's like they
That's
was
why I was
removed in
like,
the same distance.
but I think he more cool with Serge though. You know
Fair.
what I'm saying? So I just think it's a matter of like who's more relevant in his life. You know what I'm saying? At the point being, because even shout out to Gillian Wallow on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast. But even when Wallow was like, "Damn, like you missing somebody from LA,"
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "Who?" And he was like, "Russ." He was like, "Oh shit, yeah, you're right." So I feel like he kind of like was like, "Damn, he is right." And I
He
could
even put him
I could
above
say
Clay
he was
after he said he was
genuine though,
right.
because he was like, "Shit, I'm happy you checked me about that. Like I'm
Facts.
happy you checked me because that would have been tripping." And he
And to
said the
KD's
right
point,
thing.
he did say that he would be ahead of Clay, which I think is true as well. Like, you know, Clay's a top 2, maybe top 3 shooter of all time. But, you know,
Yeah,
I can't say he's better than Russell Westbrook. I mean, a
nah,
shooter is only a shooter, you know, like we talking about somebody who
yeah,
carried a franchise by his lonesome, you know.
exactly.
So to your point, like maybe he did truly forget about Russ in that moment because he did correct it and say Russ would have been the 4th best player he's played with, and then Clay,
Yeah.
which I think is the correct order for him. You know,
Mm-hmm.
realistically, I think if you had to go real ranking for his top 5, it would go obviously Steph got to go number 1, Jay Harden got to go number 2, Kyrie got to go 3 probably, and then Russ 4, and then you can have your choice of Russ or Clay 4 and 5. Like I'm not mad at it. But
Yeah.
I did feel like it was a little shady the way he forgot convinced, like, you know, it was just very coincidental. And I'm not gonna sit here and say he did mean to disrespect Russell, but there's just been a few questionable things that have happened man to man between their relationship that obviously we only seen from the outside, but this is strike 2, disrespecting Russ to me, because the first one was leaving without telling Russell. You feel me? Like just in a business standpoint, in a business setting, you really just wouldn't do that unless you had real live issues, and that wasn't anything that was reported. But I don't think he really meant to disrespect Russ. You know, it happens.
I
KD
think
probably be high.
no, you know what I'm saying? Like I think they good. Like if
Mm-hmm.
anybody, I thought it would have been like, all right, he probably would like disrespect Draymond, but I even seen him do a podcast with Draymond recently, and they was just talking about everything that went on. And Draymond was like, shit, a lot of people seeing what I did, like, because I'm very animated. And nobody really see when KD was like, man, shut the fuck up, you dirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was, you know, with him and Russ, I just think it's just going to be something that people going to, you know, pick at for years. Because even if Russ, like, well, I can't say Russ.
He added fuel to the fire for
I
sure
would
with
feel
this
some
one.
type of way if Russ said Harden was better than KD if Russ gave his like, well, even if he said like, all right, my top 5 is Harden, PG, you know what I'm saying?
Right, like he could go a few different names. You know what I'm saying? He could go Harden, he could go PG, he could even say a Bradley Beal at this point.
Yeah.
And then if you didn't put KD number 1, you know, which maybe he just slipped his mind that day, which just sounds very convenient. You know, everybody would look at it the same way. So you know, to your point, I'm not going to sit here and say KD's intent was to disrespect Russell. But, I mean, just do a little bit more deeper thinking, bro. Serge Ibaka is the name you landed on. Like, I could even say Steven Adams could be better than Serge Ibaka in certain settings. Like, that was kind of disrespectful.
I'm happy, though, they corrected him, though. Like,
for sure.
That just, like, it already still looked crazy, but it would have looked even more crazier because
he wouldn't have came back to correct it.
Yeah, like, and you know, KD one of them guys when something out, he ain't even gonna comment on it no more. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But man, let's roll over to this next one, man. I think that's gonna be a sticky one. I guess we got to see how Russ respond. I don't know if there's been any conversations that went on behind the scenes, which it probably was like before the interview came out, just to make sure, you know what I'm saying, like no feelings was hurt or anything like that.
For sure.
But
the first clip I saw of it was grimy because I didn't see the whole interview first. And he was like,
But you got it.
I was like, oh, whoa. I had to go straight to the real interview. I was like, nah, he couldn't have really said this, bro.
I don't blame them from editing it like the way they did, like cutting it right off, because that's what you want. Like you want to have
promo.
You want to have the craziest thing said possible to be like, you know what I'm saying, the main objective. But man, let's go ahead and roll over. Oh man, we got my guy Amir checking in all the way from NY. Amir, what's going on, man? Another fitted You know what I'm saying? I don't even know which one that is. You know what I'm saying?
That's a Mets hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on, y'all?
Man, cool, man. You all good?
Chilling, bro. I'm just we're talking about one thing, but the verdict came in, so happy about that. There's a little bit of accountability that was put in place, so it help people sleep a little bit better at night. But as we all know, there's still a lot of other things that we gotta make sure happen. But hey, at the end of the day, KD's crazy. You know how he feels away about how Westbrook called him out. I think Westbrook is one of the realest dudes in the league for that type of reason. I think KD really has a problem with that. So I think not every chance, but when he has moments where he can kind of do a jab or do a nudge at him, especially at the fact that Westbrook hasn't won since, he's left, I think he's going to take the chance for it. But like I said, bro, I'm glad everybody's doing good and I can jump in.
Man, for sure, man. We just need to go ahead and get it rocking on this second one, man. I've been noticing something lately, man. I've been seeing a lot of guys going down this season and a lot of star guys. So I want to just get y'all thoughts on, do y'all think it's like the NBA's fault that all of these injuries are occurring to these all-star players and just players in general during this season, man? I'm going to get it kicked off with Nate, man.
Honestly, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to say no. Injuries, unfortunately, they are a part of the game. Like if you look at Jamal Murray injury, that was a freak injury. He hadn't played in 6 games, so I can't really blame the NBA schedule for that. A guy like Donovan Mitchell, I mean, he rolled his ankle, sprained his ankle. He trying to go for a loose ball. I can't really blame the NBA schedule on that. LeBron James, when he got injured, Solomon Hill rolled up on his ankle. So can I really blame like the NBA schedule for that either? KD was coming off of a big time injury. So, he was probably going to miss games here and there regardless. So wholeheartedly, I really can't say that it's, the schedule's fault. I'm sure this year's schedule is a lot tougher, definitely more strenuous on the body. I mean, there's been teams that have had 7 games in like 10 nights, which is, a lot of games, I will say. But I can't really say it's the NBA's fault. I mean, the NBA and the players, the NBA and the NBPA came together on this schedule, meaning that the players had to agree on it. I mean, obviously, they want their guaranteed contracts. They want the money. So I can't really say it's specifically their fault only. I mean, you got to obviously loop in COVID. Everybody's trying to work around COVID and people aren't playing games because they've gotten COVID or came into contact with COVID. So people are missing games, missing opportunities to condition. So I think it would be really hard for me to put that all on the NBA's shoulders. But yeah, like the injuries that happened to the stars, like I just pointed out 4 of them for what you consider maybe top 15, top 20 players. Mm-hmm. And those are kind of freak incidents. Like maybe you point to somebody like an Anthony Davis. They had a shorter schedule. They had the shortest break between finals and regular season start. Maybe you can point to a situation like that, or you can point to a situation maybe like a Kevin Durant who keeps getting these knick-knack injuries. But even then, like that was happening before the schedule was condensed. Mm-hmm. Guys like a Kawhi Leonard, like he's missing games now, but he was missing games in 2019 before the schedule was condensed. Doing load management at Toronto, which helped out and allowed them to win a championship. And then last year, he load managed to everybody's point was kind of annoying because everybody thought he was healthy. So, yeah, like I said, I think it would just be hard for me to put it all on the NBA's shoulders. I do understand the schedule is a little bit tighter than normal, but I mean, injuries are like a huge, unfortunate part of the game. But I think it'd be hard for me to just pinpoint it on the schedule this year.
Yeah, man, I think it's tough, man. Like it's tough. I think like you said, I just can't blame it totally on the NBA, but I feel like it's something to do with them, having the quick turnaround, and I can't say like just a guy diving at the ball and, what I'm saying, stuff like that wouldn't have happened if we would have been in a regular 82-game season. But I just feel like it's just certain things like I feel like the NBA didn't give themselves a chance not for this to be the reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never want to overwork the product, because
for sure.
Even to the point of when was this? And I hate to be talking about this.
Donovan Mitchell.
Nah, the guy who not the guy, but the boy who got killed in Minneapolis not too long ago.
Dante Wright. So, which is
Yeah, so
another
it's like,
unfortunate situation for Minnesota.
yeah, it's like, bro, like I just feel like the NBA, what they do is, and I can't just blame them totally, just because at the end of the day they have to sell what they're trying to sell. But you put a shirt on them and you say, hey man, you know, just go out there and just, you know, we gonna schedule it for tomorrow. We ain't gonna play today. We gonna play tomorrow at like 11 a.m. and we gonna let y'all ball out. But just put a shirt on and we still gonna push this product. You know what I'm saying? So
For sure.
like the NBA
But you
really
also got to
really,
remember the players also agreed to it. You know, like as soon as they
yeah,
postponed it, they were looking for another date. Like, and the players understood that because
yeah,
as soon, you know, you keep cutting out more games for a team, like obviously it didn't matter in the Minnesota's standpoint. But if you're a
yeah.
team like the Brooklyn Nets and you're trying to accumulate wins so your winning percentage could be higher, I mean, you probably want to play so you can get that #1 seed. You know, so
Yeah.
like there's incentives on both sides. I do understand though, like this schedule, it is tough, but like the majority of the injuries that I attribute to like the injuries that people are talking about, like a Kevin Durant or like James Harden missing games or like Kyrie Irving missing games that really aren't even often health related. Like I can't really say it's a lot to do with the schedule. Like LeBron's freak accident, D Mitch freak accident. Jamal Murray freak accident. You know, so like there's
I think I'm more over just saying like I don't think like the NBA really protect themselves from like the negative like the negative like the negativity that they receive from public opinion. You know what I'm saying?
no doubt.
I know like, you know what I'm saying, like the players are in concert with some of these decisions. But it's like I just think like sometimes they just really don't do the best job of even if it's just providing more clarity on why they're doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems like just from the outside looking in, it just seems like this season is just so deadline focused, just because of the what happened last season due to COVID. And now you got this season where they're trying to hurry up and get stuff done before the Olympics, if that's even still going on. You know what I'm saying? Like
they still planning for it, but at the end of the day, they know like the NBA, the teams representing it, the officials, and the NBPA know that like if you're competing with the Olympics, the revenue that you're getting from your finals, you know, your big ticket item, which is the NBA playoffs, like you can't compete with the Olympics. You know, you got whole continents tuning in to the Olympic and Olympic games. So like realistically, you're kind of taking yourself out the picture completely if you compete with the Olympics, in my opinion. But I do understand like it's in terms of rushing this season, it was never going to be great in terms of like the on-court product. In my opinion, I think we've still gotten some good basketball, but it was always going to be a sharp learning curve just because one, you got people missing games due to COVID. So people don't have training camps. Rookies don't have the ability. Well, they didn't have the ability to come in, get stronger, get their bodies right. Dudes have been missing 5 to 10 games with COVID, sometimes COVID related absences, you know, getting their win back together and stuff. So there's a lot of opportunities for guys to get injured this year, which is unfortunate. But I just think like in terms of any normal year, I feel like we also get a lot of injuries as well. Like 2019, Clay and KD both get injured in the finals. Like I can't really say that scheduling. You know, they played a lot of games getting to the finals, but you know, I can't really say Chris Paul getting injured in 2018 was schedule related. It's just an unfortunate unfortunate incident in sports.
Yeah, for sure. Amir, let me get your thoughts on this, man. Do you think that the NBA is at fault for all these injuries this season?
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with with Nate. I think an article came out that statistically there's not more players getting injured this year than any other year. So I think the speculation that there's more people getting hurt this year as opposed to others is actually kind of false. Why I think the difference between this year and others is how long people are choosing to sit out, regardless of how bad the injury is. I think LeBron said that he was willing to come back in 2 weeks, and they said no, that's too short. AD, he pulled a calf muscle. He's been gone for half the season.
Nah, he aggravated his Achilles. That's why they're being too. They're being careful with him.
Get it, but even then, still, he hasn't. I can't tell you when did I say he played, like January, maybe February.
February, maybe. Yeah,
So
February,
it's
maybe
like,
now.
I think this season has played a role as to why they're not saying to him, "Hey, you need to come back." Like when we know for a fact that you're ready, or a LeBron, the same type of situation. I think with KD specifically, I'm trying to look at exactly what he has. I think he has like a thigh contusion. That's the little home type stuff that I think to me.
I want to see how long KD stay down for this, because it's like it really.
I think to your point,
call it a
I think it comes back to two big things. Of just like, number one, they're going to sit out just for the sake of everything, and on top of that, I think it also comes into just the regular season is not valued. I think the postseason is what these guys are really putting their focus on, which makes a lot of sense. But that's why you can have a Harden jam a finger and he's out for 10 games. Or you have a KD who gets a thigh bruise that you should really be able to roll out, put some ice on it, and come back in the game. He's going to miss 3 to 5 games because you bruise your arm, you bruise your thigh. Like, I don't know. For me, I feel as though that's where this season has played a bigger role, as opposed to guys just getting hurt in general.
Yeah, I also think, to Amir's point, like he just mentioned, great point. It's really the biggest stars in the game getting injured. That's really why I think it's also seemed a lot worse. Like, I mean, you got your 2 biggest stars in LeBron James and KD missing extended time. Like he said, you got Anthony Davis missing time. So those are 2 of the biggest markets already in the Lakers and Brooklyn Nets. You know, Brooklyn Nets specifically, everybody, you know, wanted to see them fully healthy, I'm sure, most of the year. And we've only seen 7 or 8 games with their core together. So, you know, that makes it feel a little bit worse. You look at somebody like a Giannis, he missed some time with the Bucks. Like, I think the fact that the stars are getting injured in at timely positions, like right now, Donovan Mitchell, him going out, like, it sucks. He rolled his ankle, but, you know, stuff like that does happen. But even a Jamal Murray, like another big ticket item, got injured. So, you know, you look at who's getting injured, like some of the very best in the game, and dudes who were killing it last year. Jamal was a big ticket item in the playoffs last year. Donovan Mitchell, obviously, you know, LeBron, Kevin Durant, you know, missed out, but LeBron and AD were the 2 dudes. And then you look at a team like Miami, they missed like 10 games. I think Jimmy Butler missed like 10 games himself, having COVID, you know, who was also in the finals last year.
He's out still right now. He's out for injury right now.
So there's just a lot of good players out. Even like Joel Embiid, he was out for like 2-3 weeks. And like Ben Simmons, he's been out for the past few games. Like, there's so many big players missing games that it makes it look like there's more injuries. But to Amir's point, like, the numbers just they wouldn't agree.
Yeah. And I think, again, the biggest thing is just how long they've been out. I think it's certainly for the season, because, you know, you have a condensed game. I think a lot of these guys haven't played back-to-backs this often since they were doing AAU tournaments. So, like, I definitely understand a LeBron where, you know, you playing 2 or 3 games in a week. I mean, at his point, I don't really think he necessarily needs to. But I also think the fact that they're seeding in the playoffs, as long as they're not super low enough to where they got to play a 1 or 2 seed, they'll be perfectly fine as a 4 or 5 seed, or even a 6 seed playing a 3 seed. And now you really get to whoop on somebody in 5 games to prepare to play a LA, or you prepare to play a Denver, that you can have beat if you were a 1 or 2 seed. So I think we should definitely take a look at that Brooklyn team, though, because I think I was reading something today, or saw something today, with I think Harden, Kyrie, and KD have only played 6 games with each other to that point.
7 games to this point.
Yeah, they've only played 7 games, and this was the same situation that the Clippers had. Now, clearly more talent. I think they're a little bit closer friends than the Clippers were off the court. And it's also said that they're really focused on winning a championship, but I think that chemistry is an important factor.
Yeah. The one thing you did say, Nate, that Mir, that I definitely want to watch is that I want to see how long KD is down, because they calling it a thigh contusion, but it was literally just a knee to the thigh. So I know it wasn't nothing just crazy. And I didn't have knee to knees, I didn't have knee to thighs, I didn't have knee to eyes, I didn't have knee to but I just want to see how long it is. And like you said, I think that's just I think the reason why people are just going crazy is just the length of how long people are sitting out for. But let's go ahead and roll over to this next one, man. But before we do that, man, we got a sponsor, AQUANO Hydrate. So make sure you stay tuned and listen to this ad right now. This is being sponsored by AQUANO Hydrate. Make sure you go over there on Instagram, shoot them a DM, and let them know you want an order of a case of this water, man. And make sure you put Micah and Friends in there in the message, and you may get a discount, man. You never know. But make sure you go over there and check AQUANO Hydrate out, and let's get back to this podcast. Hey, welcome back, man. And we back at it again, like I said, man. And we're going to get it going with this next topic, man. And I need to get y'all thoughts just because we just talked about Brooklyn. On LaMarcus Aldridge retiring, man, just an unfortunate situation. I guess he had a regular heartbeat or something like that. So I just wanted to get y'all thoughts on just him retiring and just a reflection of his career and what type of player he was. So I'm going to get it started off with Amir.
Yeah, I mean, I think every athlete wants to leave on good terms. I think every athlete wants to leave a champion and things to that effect, but that's not always the situation. I'm glad that he was able to catch it before it could have been potentially worse. I think as far as his career, I think he's done everything that he has set out to do. I believe he has a championship. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Nah.
He doesn't. All right, well, then, yeah, the championship piece is one, but I think at this point, unless you're LeBron, we really don't care if you have a championship or not. It really is just like, were you impactful in your position? I think Aldridge was in his peak, one of the top big men in the league. I think he most recently was playing, he was balling. I think he would have been a viable piece for Brooklyn to go deep in the playoffs. So I don't think he has anything to really hang his hat on. I think he said himself that it's time for him to really start prioritizing his health. Definitely has the money to sit back and chill. And I think the Raptors should definitely, not the Raptors, Portland should definitely, retire his jersey because I think he is one of their best, if you say top 15 players ever to come through there, I think he's definitely up there.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think LA is just he was a special player all the way around. And like you said, man, he was even this season, he was balling, so definitely hats off to him and just prayers up for him. I just hope, it's nothing that becomes serious. I just hope it's something that he can contain. And hopefully now, like, I kind of want Brooklyn to win this year just so he could get, a ring. Because, even though he didn't play a lot with them this season, it was something that he still contributed to. And, yeah, I do think Portland needs to raise that jersey up just because he did a lot while he was there. He put on he was
7-time All-Star, I think.
Yeah.
7 or 8-time All-Star.
Did he ever go to the Western Conference? I don't think they ever made it to the Western Conference Finals.
Nah, not with him.
Dirk got at them in the first round when he had Brandon Roy in them. So, I don't know, man. He's just a good player, never really in the media for anything too crazy. He was just one of those players who just came out and handled business. I think he's like 19, 8-4 for his career. So just a solid player just all the way around and very skilled. And I feel like he'll probably – I think that's one of the players that'll probably go to like a coaching role or something like that, just because, a lot of times when the game gets taken away from you, a lot of people still have that type of competitive edge that they have to get out somewhere. So I'm sure coaching will probably be the way for him. Hey, let me get your thoughts just on this whole situation, just about LA retiring.
Man, I definitely saddened to hear the news about LaMarcus. You never want to see nobody go out to like an injury or any health condition. Like, you really want to see people go out on their own terms. It's unfortunate, but like Amir said, the best part of it is that they caught it early. Kind of like the Chris Bosh situation. Obviously, Chris Bosh a little bit more accomplished in the league by the time his blood clots formed. But, we were just glad that, it was caught and like we didn't have to see him collapse in the game or get him stretchered off or anything like that, or even hear anything about anything like that. So, blessed to him and his family. He's had a pretty good career, man. I mean, I definitely have to agree with you guys. I think Portland should go ahead and retire his number. He was, behind Dirk and KG, like he was definitely probably the third or fourth most impactful power forward, Tim Duncan considers himself a power forward, so let me not. But like he was definitely one of the more impactful power forwards of our generation by far. Sure. Behind those three guys, like you got your ADs now, you got Chris Bosh and stuff, but like he was definitely, I mentioned KG too. Like that era, his era with those guys, like that was when the 4 position was, I think, the most important, one of the more important positions in basketball. So, I'm glad he was kind of a bridge between the new style of the game and old school. Like, he had the back to the basket game, and he was very much so a mid-range dominant guy. I was kind of disappointed. I thought he could have been one of the first like real stretch bigs in the league. He should have been one of the guys taking threes in like 2011, 2012, because he always has such a great touch. I feel like that could have just exploded his game to an even bigger point. But his athleticism definitely didn't age well throughout the league. Some dudes, you can see like a sharp decline. He was definitely one of those guys. Contrary to you guys, I really don't think he would have been a great piece for Brooklyn, in the playoffs, because they really need defense out of that big position. Like they're going to, he had a few good games getting buckets, but, he had some other good games where he was getting blown by and just completely dominated, if we're being honest. Like a dude like Drummond shouldn't be dominating him at this point. Those are the type of guys that they're going to have to play against in the playoffs. He could have came off the bench, given a few, like maybe 10 spot minutes in the playoffs, but I never really saw him being a big contributor to this team down the stretch. But like you said, man, if they get a ring, I think he should get one. They clearly wanted him that bad, so compensate him with a ring. But it definitely hurts their depth a little bit. But it also clears the way for a dude like Nicholas Claxton, and it makes his minutes clear and more obvious. Like he should be getting minutes over DeAndre. They got rid of Jared Allen. Jared Allen was a perfect fit for what they want to do. He should be getting
Jared Allen.
Yeah, don't forget the $100 million. You know what I'm saying? That's a good big right there. But Nicholas Claxton, I think this clears the way for him to finally just get some minutes and not have to compete with so many vets. Like, he's a good young player and they need to develop him, but they also need him to do it quickly. So I think this opens up an opportunity for him.
She want to be Cardi.
She want to be Cardi.
Wow, there you go. Start off, man. Salute to LaMarcus Aldridge, man. Beautiful career, wonderful career, man. Happy I got to see you growing up, and still one of my favorite games for him. I don't know if nobody else watched this, which I think nobody did, because I felt like I was the only person in America watching this game. I think it was either last year or the year before when the Spurs were playing at OKC, and he had like 56 and Russ had like 47, and it was like triple OT, and he was going nuts. Like Buddy was going bonkers. So definitely shout out to LA, man. But let's go ahead and roll over to this next one, man, to another man who's on the hot streak. I can't say the hottest streak because Harden was going retarded. But let's go ahead and get into Curry's hot streak. I need to get y'all thoughts just on how Curry is balling right now. And what do y'all think is this like just the norm for Curry, or is he going to fall off from here? I'm going to start it off with Nate.
Man, this dude Steph is ridiculous, bro. Like that's really all I can say, because if you look at his MVP season, that's 2015. 6 years later, he's 33 now, and like his game looks even more polished. And like when he's cooking like this, I think it's still probably the most exciting thing in basketball. Like when Steph really gets going, it's like one of the most exciting things to watch, because dudes just really can't stop him. Like I will say this. Last night against Philadelphia, they ran a terrible coverage against them. Joel Embiid was dropping off every screen, which didn't make sense to me. I mean, the dude's hot, obviously made 10 plus threes in like 10 straight games. Like, who does that? Like realistically, we've never seen nothing like Steph. All I want for people to acknowledge is that Dame had a run just as good last year before the bubble and in the bubble, when he averaged like 45 points over like a 10-game span. I just want people to give him the same flowers and recognition.
Playoffs, to your
point.
One more time,
I'm sorry.
I said, but didn't Portland have to win out to make the playoffs, to your point?
Yeah, they did, but so did Steph Curry. They're not in the playoff picture right now. They're like the 10th seed. They're like the 9th or 10th seed right now. So like they both were in the playoff situation. So that's the only thing I want people to say is like, consider Dame's season last year and kind of the same light, but that's not to take away anything from Steph. Like those are two great, incredible point guards. But what Steph's doing right now is just it's just really nothing in the game that you could ever compare it to. Like no one gets hot the way Steph gets hot. Like when he gets hot, it's still one of one, because there's never been nobody that could shoot like him. Like when Kobe used to get hot, it looked a little reminiscent to Michael. You know what I'm saying? When LeBron used to get hot, a lot of mid-range game. You feel me? He'll make some threes and stuff in his hot games and his 60-point games. But like when Steph get hot, there's still no comparison. Like he comes off screens, he can shoot it. He dribbles at you, he can shoot it. He can lay it up from anywhere. You know, like people don't give him enough credit for how athletic he actually is. They just want to talk about, you know, he doesn't dunk and stuff. But you see Steph finish over 7-footers all the time. He gets in the lane, he'll bump you off. He definitely got stronger, like more grown man strength. So what he's doing right now, to me, like this is probably one of the best stories in basketball this year, because they were struggling too before this little run. Like the Warriors were really, really struggling. I think losing like 5 out of the last 6. And then during this run, I mean, they just been winning games. Like he clearly doesn't have the best supporting cast. But I think with Wiseman getting injured, it also kind of clarified Steph's role for this season. It's like, all right, we don't have to worry about growing Wiseman anymore. Like, let's play to our strengths, which is clearly Steph Curry. So, man, I'm excited to see it. I'm tuned into every Warriors game right now. But it's not going to – I won't say it'll last, though. Like, this is it's not an anomaly because Steph does it often, but, like, he's not going to be averaging over 40-plus for the rest of the season. But I don't see who's going to stop him personally just yet.
Yeah. Amir, let me get your thoughts just on Curry's hot streak, man. What do you think about what's going on with him?
No, I mean, I think Nate hit it right on the head. I think to his point, when Curry is playing how he's playing, it's only comparable to when you boost your My Player up to 99 3-point shot with shot creator. It's the only thing that's comparable, because, again, I think that just goes back to the pad where it's like, nah, he's not dunking on people. No, he's not, Mr. Make every single play as far as passing. He's just shooting. and not
ever, because he knew that was going in, bro.
Yeah. So I definitely agree with Nate, to where it's like when he's playing like this, there's nothing that compares to it. And if they were in a way better situation statistically as far as their team winning percentage goes, I think that he would have even been able to earn a little bit of MVP votes for that for this season. But because of a lot of other things that are happening, other teams are doing better, I don't think that he's going to get the credit in that regard. But definitely glad to see that he's healthy. Again, like what we talked about earlier, there's so many stars that were unhealthy. Curry definitely went through his woes last year, and then obviously with the bubble kind of slowed things down. So I'm glad that he's full health and able to perform at the peak that we know he can do. It really makes me question, certainly my fault. Clay has to get back to being where he was at. I really want to do this offseason as far as trying to get more people around those two, because, Clay's coming back from 2 major leg injuries, ACL and Achilles. We don't know how he's going to look. Steph is getting older. Wiseman, he kind of had an up and down rookie season, but I think there's a lot of different reasons for that. Draymond's only getting older. So I'm interested to see on what they really choose to do as far as, getting more talent around him. But like Nate said, bro, I'm checking into their games. I'm watching their games too.
Yeah, man. Well, man, I just think Curry, he's just one of those special players, man, that we'll never see after he's done, man. He's just a special player. Like Nate, like you said, man, it's nothing that's comparable to when Curry is shooting lights out like the way he's shooting. Then when you add Clay on top of it, it's just like the best thing on TV. The only thing I can say that's like almost getting close to this is watching the Charlotte Hornets play, bro. Because just a
lot of excitement.
Commentator, bro, that nigga's, I don't know who he. I actually gotta Google who he. I'm gonna make sure I follow him from the page tonight.
They need broadcaster of the year. They're good, bro. They're good.
Yeah. So, but man, it's just usual Curry, man. We always know Curry is always due for games like this, and we always know he's always gonna go on these type of streaks and just heat it up. And it's good that he's on fire before we go into these playoffs, man. It's gonna be good to see what he's able to do in the play-in as well. And I wonder how they're gonna deal with the play-in this year, since it's not gonna be like a bubble. You know what I'm saying?
They all traveling. It'll be traveling, but by then most teams I think will be vaccinated. A lot of teams have actually already gotten kind of vaccinated or majority vaccinated, regardless. But yeah, that's a scary playing team. I mean, the Jazz, I just, nobody fears the Jazz or the Phoenix Suns right now. If I'm one of those two teams, I'm nervous if the Lakers fall to that 7th seed. And I'm nervous if the Warriors get that A seed, you know, just off the sole fact, like Steph can have a run like this and Donovan isn't going to be the one to neutralize him. You know, like you deal with this 7-game series. Obviously, you can box him one, you can do a few other things, but he's seen it all at this point. So, you know, I wouldn't be scared. But my question to y'all is like, whoever decides the NBA first team is going to have a real problem. I mean, who do you put in there? Do you put Dame in there? I mean, they 6th in the West. You put Steph in there. They're at the bottom of the West. You got Jay Harden in a guard spot. And then you got Luka, who's like, I think 7th in the West as well. Or you even got a Donovan Mitchell or a Devin Booker, who's number 1 and 2. Like, who do you go with if you're the voters?
It's going to be tough. I think this is, I hate to like bring the all-star, you know what I'm saying, like they voting system into it, but it's going to have to be a mixture of the two, man. It's going to have to be some the NBA execs that's voting on this, and it's going to have to be some just fans voting on it as well, because it's going to be tough. It's going to be some people that's going to be left out, bro, without a doubt.
For sure.
But let's go ahead and roll over to this last one, man. I need to get y'all thoughts just on D-Wade becoming a partial owner of the Utah Jazz, and what does this mean for the Jazz moving forward? Do y'all think this was a good move? I'm gonna start it off with you, Nate, 'cause I think you got to bounce up out of here.
Man, I'll say like it's just dope. I want to salute to D-Wade, man. Like being, you know, just the Black ownership growing in professional sports is good to see. Like Grant Hill's a part owner of the Atlanta Hawks, former WNBA player. I believe she has a majority stake either in the Chicago franchise or Atlanta franchise in the WNBA. But, you know, like you got an A-Rod group just going and buying the Timberwolves. Like it's good to see African-Americans, you know, in ownership roles, because at the end of the day, like that's the goal. That's where the money really comes from. I mean, like it's cool to get paid as a player, but if you're still around the game, why not have an ownership stake? You know, the Jazz thing kind of caught me off guard. I won't lie, but I mean, they're probably one of the lowest evaluated NBA franchises, just being in a small market. Man, it's Memphis.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
So
real.
they definitely down there though.
Yeah, the thing that stuck out to me, because I know you was just saying it's weird with it being the Jazz. It's like this is one of the most, not even one of the most. This is the most racist like fan base out.
For sure.
Like, the NBA fan base, like this is the most racist NBA fan base. So
but I think to Rob's point, like with it being the Jazz, and then I know you have to bounce soon. I do want to get the rest of your. But there's only so many ownership opportunities there. Like
right.
there's 30 teams that you can even have an option to own, and then even there you have to cut it into a fraction who would even be willing to do so. And then with a lot of these, specifically, I'll say football, but basketball, I know it's very much the case too. A lot of these are even like family owned. There's not too much the ownership stake. So I mean, I've never been to Utah. I have no real interest in going to Utah unless I'm doing some resort shit. But like, if I was in a position where they would say, hey, you know, you put X amount of money down and you could become part of an ownership stake and you can kind of, you know, operate in that capacity. Nate, I'm sure you know the NFL and the NBA, it's an abundance of clientele for Black people to play, but you're not going to find too many to be agents. You're not going to find too many general managers. You're not going to find too many coaches, and you damn sure not going to find too many Black owners. So, I mean,
like you said, like a Laker group, like the Buss family, you know, good family from what I've heard, but they're not selling to anybody because they're a family ownership group. So to Amir's point, like most of the big franchises, you're not really going to get the ability to buy into. And I think Utah is a good opportunity. Not only are they good, but they have a new president, CEO, and I think they have a new owner, relatively new owner. I think he's like a young tech guy. So, you know, like that's kind of where he accumulated his wealth, but he's young. So, you know, like D-Wade has an opportunity to come in and really be influential. And who knows, bro, maybe they turn Utah into a much more diverse fan base and, you know, attract a free agent, because that's the goal for ownership, in my opinion. Like if you want to influence ownership, you want to influence the culture of an organization, and you most likely want people to want to come to your organization, regardless where it is. Like he has the ability to turn a small market into somewhere where people want to go. Like people weren't going to Golden State before they started going on, you know? So like, that's really what you want to do. But yeah, I'm gonna have to get out of here. I appreciate y'all, man. And yeah, we smoking on that Derek Chauvin pack.
But no, like I said, man, I definitely think this is a good opportunity, you know, just to have more color, you know, in the front office. Not even in the front office, in the ownership. So I think this is a good look. But like I said, man, I think, you know, this is it's gonna be a test. I feel like this is gonna be a test because, like I said, this is one of the most racist fan base out there. So it's gonna be tough really getting over what his I guess agenda would be to the fans and how to be a more diverse fan base. But I think, you know, this is the perfect place for this to happen, especially on the West Coast of things. So I'm not mad at it. And like you said, man, these opportunities come few and far in between. So whenever you got a chance to really be like on the ownership side of these professional teams, you want to do that. So definitely salute to D Wade. It's been a big year for him too, man, with everything just going on with his daughter and, you know what I'm saying, just stuff like that. It's been a big year for D Wade, so salute to him. Mm-hmm. And other than that, I don't got anything else, bro. You got anything on this?
Yeah, no, I again, like somebody who would obviously aspire to try and own a team or have some kind of ownership stake, to see D Wade operate in that capacity is inspiring and it's good to see. Like I said before, and like you touched on, like it ain't like you can just walk into a bank and just buy stock in an NBA team. Like you either get the opportunity or you don't. So I'm glad that he was able to kind of maneuver his way in there. I definitely think it was for the free agent aspect and the enticing aspect, but ultimately he's creating another pathway of wealth for his family. He can sit on that and know that that's a check coming in every so often whenever they give it to them. That you wouldn't have gotten any other way. And ownership is always key. So like you said, like I think he's in a good position. I'm glad that he's able to do it, and I wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah, man. I just think, you know, it's gonna be good to see what comes from this, because like Nate said, man, this is a small market team. So just having whatever type of popularity and notoriety you could bring to small market teams is always gonna be a plus. You know, so just having Dwayne Wade's name attached to this, him being in that games, whether it's 2-3 games out the year, because I know he went to the game that Donovan Mitchell went down. He was at that game, you know, right after it got announced that he was going to be purchasing part of the team. So I don't know, man. I think it's just good to see what's going to come for this. But other than that, man, I don't got anything else, man. I appreciate all y'all for tuning in on the live stream. Make sure y'all check in Thursday, man. We got another Micah and Friends coming with a football edition, you know what I'm saying, pre-draft talk. So of course I'm going to have my man in the middle there, and I'm going to have another one of our partners there. So y'all going to get introduced to another one of the homies, man. But other than that, man, make sure you go over there, follow us on IG at Micah and Friends, follow our personal IGs. Shout out to Nate, shout out to Cott, shout out to Amir, of course. You know, he's right here. So make sure you go over to National Sports Chat, follow that. Go follow TOV Sports. This whole production is being brought to you by TOV Sports. Shout out to Dave. Make sure you go over to AQUANO Hydrate. Put your order in on IG. And other than that, man, we checking in and we checking out. This is another episode of Micah and Friends, and we checking in, checking out of here. Yes, sir. Appreciate you all in there, man. Check out this podcast. Make sure you go over to YouTube, IG, like, comment, subscribe, follow us on everything. Go over there to Micah and Friends podcast on IG and National Sports Chat on YouTube. We're going to keep this content coming at you, man. Appreciate y'all for checking in.
Here is something you can't understand. How I just keep killing, man. I'm from the South Rim, spinning like ceiling fans. Gambling with life, no complaining about the dealer hand. Back when niggas used to ride around the dipset. Now these cops will shoot you on your live, that's a killer cam.